a nice turn. A little bit of hop in that turn. All right, this cold is putting a smack down on my battery. Had to go to town today, and I took this with just in case it was calmer in town than here. It wasn't. Found a little quiet corner with the wind being a little bit northwest, and I got a Maiden in on the TunnelJet. And it was 27 degrees air temperature in town. That's what we have for cold, unlike California or down south. You guys can't talk to me about cold, but I think it put a bit of a hurt on this small lipo, but I got to run the boat and I saw enough to convince me that I'm in the ballpark with my setup. I'm convinced the center of gravity is critical, and if anything, it needs to be even farther back than what I have it. So I said I have it at 35% up from the back sponson. That's 4 9/16. It's exactly 4 inches, 550 thou. Here's why I'm convinced on the center of gravity. This, and I've checked it even with a square, this is a level or neutral prop shaft angle. And so when a boat is hopping in the bow, that's usually due to positive trim. Take a full-size boat, trim it up too much at low speed, and it's going to do that. Sit there and pop along. You can overcome that with more power. And as a matter of fact, when you go faster in a full-size boat, like an outboard with trim, you trim it up, freeze the hull up, but that setting running slower is going to hop. So where my center of gravity is, 0 degree prop angle, I still got a little bit of bow hop. Full throttle, it would just level out, but I didn't really, my lipo wasn't making enough power to get a very good full throttle run. It's just leveling out. So let off a little, make a turn, it's hopping right away. Center of gravity, why I say rearward is instead of lifting the bow with the prop shaft angle, positive prop shaft angle, your bow will ride higher with a more rearward center of gravity. What Zip Kits talks about, they have a section there to talk about driving the boat. And you guys are exactly right, Dr. Jet and Big B. It takes a different driving style for a tunnel haul, an outboard tunnel haul. So you want full throttle, standing tall, catching air, not enough to blow off, but free up the hull for speed. And that's going to come from power, not positive angle on the prop shaft, because it's not going to work in the turn. But rearward center of gravity, by rearward, I would like to get back to 30%. Neutral prop shaft angle. The depth is simply for adjusting how loose or wet the boat is. And I'll talk about that in a bit. But so if you decelerate into a turn and it doesn't hop in the turn, now you can make a control turn. So what Zip Kit says is full throttle on the straightaway, release the throttle just enough to let it settle in the turn.
Bartek Marshallek, Emirates Racing Team,
and then these inside corners, Dr. Jet talked about leaving them sharp. Very true. It's like your turn fin, except you have one on each side. It can turn. The courses on the F1 full-size races, they turn left and right. You want to get it into the water on the turn all the way up in front of the center section. You want to engage that entire angle, this corner on the turn, to make a turn and then not have it dive into, you'll see on the one-to-ones, you'll see it just peeling water off on this non-trip on the side here. A somewhat scale, and this is not bad at all, it's pretty close to scale, F1 tunnel haul, this non-trip won't hold it up in the turn if you let it settle and you're into the turn. So therefore, the stumble blocks. So I said I proportion these looks about right engineering to the G30, including, I didn't mention this, I don't have a straight edge here. I have it curved, similar to like the bottom of the sponsons. And I am slightly below the 16th sheeting on the bottom of the sponsons, maybe a 32nd below. So I just have that a gentle arc sanded into it. And I thought they behaved quite well. When it did settle a couple times into the turn, it stayed level, didn't dig in, and it came out and accelerated nicely. So I'm really happy with this setup, my basic bench tune. I don't want the bow hop in the corner. I think that's a big deal. That's really going to throw off any of your read on the setup in the turn, especially how the stumble blocks are performing. So let's look at the video and see if you agree with what I'm seeing and what I think here. Oh yeah, and the one thing I wanted to mention, the depth of the strut, change that for different water conditions. You want the basic behavior of the boat on straightaways, going into, through, and coming out of the turn. You want that set up. Center of gravity, prop shaft angle, stumble blocks. The depth is determining how wet or loose, and you change that for different water conditions. Calm water, you can run a little deeper and you can run a little faster. Rougher water, you're going to raise it up. So it's not as loose, a little more wet, and you keep it on order. So forgot to mention that. This is cold. 27 degrees out. Got the TunnelJet out for a quick little maiden. You can see right away we need to do a trim adjustment. That's pretty spot on. All right, got a couple rocks in here I gotta watch, but got a little bit of flat water. All right, I'm gonna go to my driving mode 2, my reduced rates, because that turns plenty fast enough right there. Go over here with this calm water. Step over this ice along the shore here. I'm sure this cold's gonna knock this battery down really quick, but see if we can't get a little bit of a rip in here. Run it back and forth right in here. This ice will hold up. Let's see what it's looking like as far as ride attitude. Turning nice and flat.
A bit of hop in a corner. So I got 0 prop shaft angle and my center of gravity back at 35%. I'd say if anything, I'd move it back farther. A little hop there. There's a nice turn. A little bit of hop in that turn. All right, this cold is putting a smack down on my battery. It's behaving nicely enough though. It's pretty close as far as my setup. So I wouldn't mind a more rearward CG. Oh! Log, didn't see it in the dark here. All right, that's it for the maiden run. I just walked out there, got my feet wet. If I was over on that shoreline, the wind would have blown it in. I got my rescue boat in the car, but it's right there. But it didn't hurt anything. It's just the inertia. Popped my cover off. Magnet didn't hold. Clipping the lower end, and it doesn't look like did any kind of damage. Just popped up over that log. No damage to the prop shaft. No damage to the hull. She just slid her. Actually, it just barely clipped the log. I wasn't over here where I hit it. Just caught it underneath. But I don't even think my feet are wet. My cowboy boots. Yeah, didn't get over top of them. It's pretty shallow right there. So it's all good. Got it trimmed. So it's good to go.